Prime Minister Narendra Modi today inaugurated the new Parliament building and installed the historic Sengol in the Lok Sabha. This is a proud moment for India. Amidst the divisive politics over the north and the south, this is a true celebration of Tamil culture. Let's take a look at the various aspects of today's inauguration, which was done paying homage to the Tamil culture particularly. The history of the Sengol and the pious practices attached with it were the highlight of this event. There was also Prime Minister Narendra Modi who prostrated himself right in front of this very culturally significant Sengol, the scepter that was handed over by the Mutt seers to the Prime Minister earlier today.
साथियों, आज इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर कुछ देर पहले संसद की इस नई इमारत में पवित्र सेंगोल की भी स्थापना हुई है। महान चोल साम्राज्य में सेंगोल को कर्तव्य पथ का, सेवा पथ का, राष्ट्र पथ का प्रतीक माना जाता था। राजा जी और आदीनम के संतों के मार्गदर्शन में यही सेंगोल सत्ता के हस्तांतरण का प्रतीक बना था। तमिलनाडु से विशेष तौर पर आए हुए आदीनम के संत आज सुबह संसद भवन में हमें आशीर्वाद देने उपस्थित हुए थे। मैं उन्हें पुनः श्रद्धापूर्वक नमन करता हूं। उनके ही मार्गदर्शन में लोकसभा में ये पवित्र सेंगोल स्थापित हुआ है।
Okay, let's start my conversation. I have panelists from Tamil Nadu particularly. There's a historian, political analyst, public policy expert, and they're all going to give their expert advice, expert analysis on what the significance of the scepter is. Vishalaksi, who is a researcher of the Indian history and Vedic custom, on the telecast with me. It's great to have you on the telecast, Vishalaksi. My first question to you, the scepter that has Nandi at the top of it, this scepter has also been the scepter, the Sengol of Lord Shiva. There have been depictions of Lord Shiva holding that scepter. But if you could give me this deep analysis, a deep dive into this custom of 2000 years and more in the Sangam era and how it has been revived today with the inauguration of the new Parliament building.
Thank you. The Sengol or the scepter is considered as a symbol of justice, where it represents that the virtuous man or the citizen should be offered protection and the vile should be punished. So, we can find the reference of this scepter or the Sengol from ancient textiles. It symbolizes when there is a change of monarchy. So, it symbolizes that the kingdom is passed over from the past king to the new king. In that way, when during the independence time, so from the British, the power has been transferred to India, to Pandit Nehru, by passing over this scepter. And another, regarding the Nandi symbol, so since the scepter is considered as a divine symbol, it carries Nandi, which represent Dharma. There are two types of symbols we can find in scepter. The one is, if the king is a Shaivite, he carries the symbol of Nandi in his scepter. And if it is a Vaishnavite king, he carries the Garuda symbol in the scepter. But both represent the dharma or the righteous path the king has to travel.
Okay. All right. Let me also get a public policy expert, Ramakrishnan TS. Ramakrishnan, there has been a lot of debate that has been going on about whether it is a monarchy or a democracy, and the Congress and the other opposition parties have been picking up this issue about the scepter, issue about the Sengol, and whether there is significance attached to it in this mega ceremony of the inauguration of the new parliament building, our Sansad Bhavan. What do you think? This ceremony, which has been given so much reverence. The Prime Minister himself prostrated himself in front of the scepter today before it was installed in the Lok Sabha near the chair of the Speaker, the Lok Sabha Speaker. And what is the cultural and historical significance of this very important gesture that has been made? Okay, Satya Murthy also on the telecast with me. Satya has the same question. Amidst this political ruckus that has been going on, I'm going to particularly focus on why the scepter, why Sengol is so important. Why is it that the Tamil seers of various mutts were invited specially to do the prayers, to hold the yagnas and hand over the scepter yesterday to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and then who in turn placed it at the Lok Sabha Speaker's place?
The question is simple, but the answer is a little complex for simple reasons. Scepter or Sengol is not unique to Tamil culture alone as it's being made out. Across the world, if you look at the even European emperors, they have always carried a scepter in their hands, and many of North Indian kings have also done it. Particularly to say that this is a Chola Sengol is pure politics. Maybe someone somewhere got this idea of a Chola, adding everything to Chola after Maniratnam's Ponniyin Selvan films. That is a ridiculous thing to do, if that's the idea. And two, as far as this particular scepter is concerned, as Dr. Visali explained to an extent, I have read years ago, not anything new or suddenly, that this was the idea of Mountbatten. Lord Mountbatten asked Nehru, how do you want it to be this thing demonstrated or shown? Then the Nehru later consulted Rajaji and others. Rajaji came up with the idea. He conducted the Tiruvavandurai Adhinam in Tamil Nadu. Because generally in Tamil kingdoms or across India, for instance, Rajagurus used to hand over the scepter to the king's ruler and also put the crown on the head of the new emperor or the king or whatever. But one thing, the Adhinams were never Rajagurus per se. So I don't know how the Tiruvavandurai Adhinam got into this picture, I don't know. But ultimately it was made, handed over to Lord Mountbatten by a junior pontiff of Tiruvavandurai Adhinam. Mountbatten in turn handed it over to Jawaharlal Nehru, who was then Prime Minister, caretaker Prime Minister, so to say. But there is one thing. At that time I have read, I can't show evidence to that. At that time, I mean about 20, 30 years back, I have read that some people felt this cannot be the symbolism of handing over power to have elected people in a democracy. So that was one of the reasons I have read long before this Sengol issue came up in the last 1 week or so, that this was not presented to the public. Now a whole story is being treated. Even now we heard Prime Minister Modi speaking. There was no reference to Nehru, but there was a reference to a Tamil leader, Rajaji, who was definitely present. And there are also questions being raised whether Sengol was there or not, true, etc. But the fact that Sengol has been there in the Allahabad Nehru Museum shows that that relevance and the historicity of that particular Sengol may not be untrue. There may not be any written evidence. But culturally, there is nothing significant to it to linking it to to the Tamils. Because Sengol has always been there. It is definitely not the Solas alone. Every ruler in Tamil Nadu, almost every ruler in India had it. To
But also the debate whether it is the power that is being transferred from quote unquote one monarchy to the other, keeping in mind it was a symbol of a kingdom that was being transferred from perhaps one king to another versus a democracy that the country lives in.
It is this way. Either the emperor, the king or the emperor hands it over to his son, or the ruler who defeats another king takes it over as a mark of his conquering that kingdom. Though the Sengol, as Dr. Visali Kishan very clearly explained, had a particular purpose, but the other purpose, wearing the crown and holding the Sengol of another kingdom or another king, means that kingdom and those people have been subjugated. That's the important thing.
Okay. Quickly, moving on to the next segment of my discussion, we're talking about the Adinams. And the Adinams are the heads of the 4 most prominent Hindu monastic institutions in the country. They are highly respected religious leaders and their blessings are considered to be auspicious. The Adinams met with the Prime Minister ahead of the inauguration of the new Parliament building. They presented him with the Sengol. There were 21 Adinams that attended the Sengol Puja ceremony and 5 Adinam Cs that blessed the Prime Minister as he got up to install the Sengol at the Lok Sabha of the new Parliament building. Visuals on your screens are depictive of what happened early in the morning today. There was the Vedic Yagna that took place. There was the Sengol that was presented yesterday itself by the Adinams. There were prayers and chants and hymns that were sung. And finally, the ultimate ceremony of placing the scepter at the Lok Sabha speaker's seat, next to the Lok Sabha speaker's seat, was then completed. And the Kolaru Padigam is the hymn in praise of Lord of Murugan, who is the Hindu god of war and victory. The hymn is believed to have been composed by Saint Tirumular, and the hymn is said to have the power to grant all that is desired. The Sengol prayer ceremony is a traditional Tamil ceremony that is performed to seek the blessings of Lord Murugan, and the ceremony is usually performed before the start of any important undertaking, such as the construction of a new building. This was being sung today while the Sengol prayer ceremony took place at the new Parliament. Let's listen in to that entire prayer ceremony that took place earlier in the day today.
स्वतंत्रता की पूर्व संध्या पर तिरुवावडुरै आदीनम ने पंडित नेहरू को सेंगोल भेंट किया.
Ramakrishnan, coming back to you, and those were very poignant visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi prostrating himself in front of the Sengol, a prestigious moment, a prestigious part of the new Parliament building, and the prayers that were taking place, the hymns that were being sung. All important. It also created the kind of atmosphere that was required for the new Parliament building complex inauguration. But the deep-seated significance of an historical significance of this, perhaps a 2,000-year-old custom that has been practiced.
Yeah. So are you able to hear me?
I am, sir.
Hello. Yeah. So I'll tell you actually about this Kolaru Padigam that was sung today by the Oduars. Oduars are supposed to sing this hymns in a proper tune, and then that is what they have to do. So essentially, I tell you what it means. Kolaru Padigam means 10 songs, and Kolaru means Kol and Aru. There are 2 words. One is called Kol means planet, okay, and then Aru means cutting. So basically, when 2 Myanmars, Tirunavakara sir and Jnana Sambandar were about to leave to Madurai to meet Pandyan king, and he was practicing Jainism. So his wife wanted the person, his wife wanted these 2 saints to come there and then convert him back to Saivism. So she has sent emissaries for this. And then Jnana Sambandar decided. Jnana Sambandar is, there are two people, but there are 63 Nayanmars, out of which 4 are prominent. And again, Jnana Sambandar is considered to be most prominent because he's a very, in the sense he got started singing in songs, I mean, in the praise of Lord Shiva at the age of 3, and he lived only for 16 years. Whereas Tirunavukara sir is the old side, so he is of 70, 80 years old, whereas Jnana Sambandar is hardly 20 years old. So, but they were jointly going to different temples of the Shiva temples and then singing hymns in praise of Lord Shiva. So Jnana Sambandar decided to immediately start. So look at the stars, planets, and then he says that better not to
Sir, I'll have to interrupt you, sir. Again, an audio glitch over there. We'll try to fix that. But Visalaksi back on the telecast with me. Visalaksi, particularly this entire, this particular ceremony that lasted about half an hour. It took place between 8:30 and 9 a.m. where we saw that the Prime Minister was prostrated in front of the Sengol. How important are these prayers and these hymns that were sung by these Adinams?
Yeah. See, Padigam means set of 10 hymns. This Kolara Padigam sung by Jnana Sambandar in praise of Lord Shiva to annihilate the bad effects of the planets, grahas. So in that Padigam, Jnana Sambandar says that those who recite these hymns will be bestowed with kingship and they will rule over the divine sovereignty. At the end of the Padigam, he says, Arasalvar Anai Namade. It's a promise I'm saying that whoever recite this, they will be bestowed with the kingship and they will rule the divine sovereignty. So I find this is an ideal hymn to sing during this inauguration of the new parliament building. So why Adinam? So we have already seen that Mr. Satyamurthy has explained how Rajaji has brought in the Adinam during the 1947 when there is transfer of power. So the same thing has repeated here. The Adinams are independent Shaivite institutions which has its own internal structure of authority and they control the smaller mutts and temples in Tamil Nadu. So there are different types of Adinam. Each one of them, it's an ascetic monk mutt where the only aim is to spread the teachings of these Shiva, the Shiva devotees.
Okay.
So what,
okay, quickly, you know, I'll interrupt you and I'll also take my viewers through the procession with the Sengol that was led by Nadashavara musicians. This was at the Parliament building. It is symbolic. It's a symbolic gesture of seeking the blessings of Lord Murugan, the Hindu god of war and victory. The procession is also a way of paying homage to the rich cultural heritage of Tamil Nadu, where the new Parliament building is located. The procession with the Sengol led by Nadashwaram musicians is a solemn and an auspicious occasion. And not just that, there is also a lot of history and a lot of culture that is deep rooted in this Sengol installation. Sengol, like I said, is a sacred scepter that was used by the Chola dynasty of South India. It was a symbol of authority and of power. It was used to signify the transfer of power from one ruler to the next. The Sengol was also a symbol of justice and righteousness, and it was used to remind the rulers of their duty to uphold the law and to protect the people. There are carvings in Virupaksha temple in Padakal that are carved in Chalukya dynasty in the 8th century Karnataka, which resemble the Sengol. The Rajadanda held by Lord Nataraja in the carving bears striking resemblance to the Sengol. The Sengol is in fact embedded in our Indian history. I'll get back to N. Satyamurthy at this point. N. Satyamurthy, had this ceremony not been conducted with so much pomp and show, majority of the Indians would not have known about this this scepter, what its significance is, what is the historical importance is?
Yes, I agree with you on that point, that the rest of the country got to know about the Sengol. But again, let me underline what I said. Sengol is not unique to Tamil culture and Tamil rulers. It is, as you yourself mentioned about Chalukyas, it was there. In many other kingdoms across the country, it was there. In Sanskrit and Hindi, it may have been known by another name, that's all. Yes, it is an expression of Indian history, ancient history, we can say. Beyond that, to say it is a cultural renaissance is wrong. That is my point. Two, as far as because we are not going to follow that kind of a system anymore. This is symbolic. Yes, I agree. But going beyond that, the ordinance, as I said, and incidentally, this Kolar Padiyam was not in praise of Lord Muruga as is being made out. And as Dr. Visalli clearly pointed out, it is about Lord Shiva and to remove all the curses of the 9 planets. That is the first point. Number 2 is this cultural thing is being overdone. 3,
Okay.
involving, let me complete, involving this thing, Adinams.
So you're saying that these cultural inferences that are being drawn, the prayers, the yagna, the havan, these hymns that are being sung, these musicians that have been brought in should not have been done so?
See, in a way, it is a religious thing. Let us, people believe it,
Well, when the Rafales were brought in from France to India, there was a religious ceremony that was conducted. What's wrong in conducting a religious ceremony that is replicating what Indianness is?
See, that is one way of looking at it. I don't deny it. That is the question here, right? And this ordinance.
So, are you also saying that when Pandit Nehru decided to keep the Sengol not in the parliament but in a museum in Allahabad, and it is being termed not as the Sengol or the sacred scepter, but a walking stick presented to Pandit Nehru by Lord Mountbatten, was that a more quote-unquote secular way of presenting the scepter?
I don't think it was used or termed as a walking stick. If you look at the social media today, all kinds of nonsense is being said on either side. Someone even said this is the democratic soul.
So there are pictures of it that have been put out, and they actually mentioned that it was called the walking stick of Pandit Nehru. But I'm not going to get into that conversation. Of course, there is a matter of controversy over there, and we have spoken about it at length for the past several days since this entire row came up.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.